Good evening. My name is Celeste Prescott, Public Information Officer with Southwest Incident Management Team 1. Thank you for joining us for this evening's Calf Canyon and Hermits Peak fire update. We do have a very full agenda tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on that, and we have a few more notes for you afterwards. But I'm going to open it up with Ken Watkins, Southwest Area Incident Management Team 3, Operations Section Chief.
Hey, good evening. Ken Watkins, Operations Chief down here in the South Zone, and go over the activity for today in the zone. So I'll start up on this northwest corner of our zone in division, what we have labeled as Division Foxtrot, but it's the Rosiata, Upper Rosiata, and Gascon areas. Another really good day in there, securing around the values throughout that area. Still some heat up in the most northern part of it up there, under some power lines in there that the folks on the ground were able to get and take care of. So it's just kind of like that on the top still. We are securing, making progress, but there's still work to do, and they're still in there doing that now. Around the northern part of the fire, and then the eastern flank down to the south here to Las Vegas. Another very good day, just kind of monitor and patrol. Good news today was that we got rain. We did get some moisture down here, so that moisture was fairly light on the Pecos River drainage side, but as it came off and down towards the eastern side of the fire, we had 20-25 minutes of really good rain, and that was I was just talking with the sheriff, and that's the first time this area has seen that in a long time, so very helpful. This area continues to look really good. Working down onto the southern flank of the fire, again, that benefited from the moisture as well. We continue to create some contingency lines down south of San Pablo, working to the south. Onto the western side of the fire, it's kind of a mixed set of news right there. You know, we had a lot of activity in there yesterday that did push fire down off more of the top and the Skyline Trail and down into the west. Some of the news I'll share on that side, west of Boreas Peak and south of Boreas Peak, throughout the night shift last night and throughout the day. Before the precip, when we had to take our firefighters off the line. All around that corner there is holding very well. They've used a combination with heavy equipment and crews, and we've kind of started to wrap that side. So that's still looking good today. The activity from yesterday that came over to the west, that stuff, it remained active and is still working more laterally. Didn't see a lot of western movement today, more north and south expanding itself, and then north of that there was some similar activity into our next division there. But for the most part, that area still remained active, but not in a lot of overall growth and minimal movement to the west and to the communities. The crews in here spent a lot of time looking at some additional options to try to grab from what we've gained here and this is the 283 road, kind of between all these blue numbers here, back out to this green line here, and they started to prepare that and prepare that as a line to kind of get around what came out yesterday. Moving up a little bit further to the north, all of this line on the Skyline Trail continues to hold. There's another day of securing in there. You know, really what came out yesterday here will affect some of it in the future. So our folks did a lot of ground truthing between these different colored lines you see here, and have come up with a selection of line placement, mostly following this green line and then tying back into the Skyline Trail going forward. Into the Pecos Valley, we continued, the assessment of all the communities and the residents through here, and we'll continue that. They finished up most of the work that we've been doing, the stuff that is closest to where that fire movement was, and they are starting to move back towards the down into the Pecos Valley and then north with that work. And that's our update for today. Thank you.
And now we're going to take it to the north for our operations update from Southwest Incident Management Team 1, Operations Section Chief Jason Coyle.
Hey, thank you, Celeste. So I recognize that there is value to going around the map, so that's what we're going to do. All right, starting on the northwest side of the fire, west side of the fire, south of Angostura and the 518 road. The activity on the fire on the northern end there, right, we see the branch 3 picked up today, but we're able to use the scoopers to keep that fire from crossing over the small little drainage and moving over to the west. You know, that's just a temporary checking action, but preventing that fire from getting alignment with these drainages increases the potential that the fire won't cross north of the 518, and it also increases the potential that if it does cross, that we have time to implement our other holding actions. A flight of 4 of the scooping aircraft also worked all the way along this fire's edge around just south of Angostura, and there's a spot fire. It's hard to see on this map, but there's a spot fire that's just outside of the main fire, a place called the Knob, and they were able to put a lot of water on that in a short amount of time. And you know, those scoopers, they deliver water with violence. They come in so fast and low that they actually kind of till up the soil, so it has a different effect in timber than does the retardant drops that kind of rain down on it. So they worked that area, and you know, it was looking good. Still concerned about outflow thunderstorms. A cell came across Taos and the Angel Fire. Kind of falling apart right now, but you know, concerned about anything out there in the flat pushing that fire around some more. But as of right before this meeting, that was looking good. In addition to that, crews worked on this northern side west of Chacon to make sure that they were able to try to pick up this edge, and they also used heavy helicopters in here to knock the heat out of the tips of these two areas, so that they could work on continuing this line up and around, and ideally getting it tied off. Get it up to the top of the ridge line, and then start working it down to the south. You know, even if this action doesn't prevent the fire from continuing north and only prevents its eastward movement, it buys us a lot, especially with the Luna fire scar right out in front of it, in preventing the northerly spread. All right, between Chacon and Guadalupita on the northern end of the Rincons, the 3 hotshot crews that were in there today worked all the way up to the tip of the northernmost piece of fire here where there was heat, and they're working back down this edge to the southwest. In addition to that, there's some areas where there's some more intense heat right at the end of the dozer line here below the B003, and using heavy helicopters to assist, they're able to put water on that, and so far it hasn't moved. None of that's out, but it has not moved. Basically from this top of this point right here, right my pinky, all the way up to the north like this is a stringer of heavy fuel. Everything on this side is a lot lighter, so we're paying a lot of attention to this to prevent that fire from moving further north up through that heavier fuel, and then get up in areas where it can spread out and cause a lot of havoc. We do have 4 dozers that are also working their way into that area right now. All right, going over south towards Guadalupita and down all the way to MORA, and then up towards DP78 in Cleveland. All this is looking really good. Fire's holding on all the control lines. Crews in there continuing to mop up and coordinate with power companies so they can get access into there and make some of their correction or some of their repairs. All right, so between Cleveland and Chacon, the fire continues to back down all the way towards the properties that are adjacent to the 121 road here, and everything's looking good. So the fire's backing down there. There's no places where we see that there's fire that's getting below, getting low on the slope below unburned fuel, where it has a chance to run back up and throw spots up outside of the burned area. So we say looking good when it comes to something like that. Basically what we mean is it's backing down relatively even, and it's not creating any unmitigated potential for fire to spot outside of the line. So in addition to all that work, structure protection continues to move to the northwest along the 518 road towards Scipio and towards the ski resort and past the ski resort. And Continues also around Sierra Bonita, up here in the Hidden Lakes area, and the areas that we think are the most proximal to the fire that is uncontained. In addition to that, we've been working up here on the north end, coming off of the 76 road. Here where you see the road is, it just means that proposed road is lined. Working to improve that road, get up on top of this ridge that we call the Osho Ridge, going north-south right here. We've also identified a secondary control feature to get line all the way down to the west there. Continuing to move equipment into place to begin construction on those lines. And while we're doing that, we're also continuing to evaluate other ways to to keep that fire footprint smaller. But we are not going to sacrifice an opportunity to prevent it from getting into the 64 corridor by attempting to do something that's in so close that we don't have a chance to be successful. End of report.
Thank you, Jason. We always appreciate your detailed reports. And up next, we're happy to welcome back Stuart Turner, our fire behavior analyst.
Hey, thank you, Celeste. So I'm Stuart Turner. I'm the fire behavior analyst for Team 1. I'll be covering both the north and the south tonight and give you an idea of what I think the fire behavior should be for tomorrow. I'm not going to address every canyon and drainage out there, just the ones that I feel like are going to be problem areas or where we see growth. There's going to be a lot of areas that still have heat or fire in them, but we're not going to see that growth. So let's look at the fuels real quick for tomorrow. The 1 hour fuels, those are the fine dead fuels. That's where the fire actually spreads. Those are the pine needles, the small twigs, the blades of grass. Those are going to be dry again tomorrow, down to 1%. The 1,000-hour fuels, that's the size of about a 4x4 post. Those are still extremely dry, well below the kiln dried percentage that we see in lumber. It's going to come in at 7%. And that's what holds the fire through these moist periods, like the rainfall we saw today, or through moist nights. So they hold the fire through the night and then rekindle the next day when the sun gets on them and the fine dead fuels dry back out. So once again, we'll be dry and the fire will be able to move around, but there's going to be a lot of limiting factors on the movement of the fire tomorrow because of the work the crews have done, the aerial work that's been done from the aircraft out there, and just flat running out of fuel because it's consumed the fuel that it was available to it. So let me see if I can share my screen here and get a good map up that we can talk about. There we go. Okay. Let that come up. Should be up here real soon. I promise. It's a really nice map. There we go. So probably the biggest area of growth is this area that's threatening the 518 Angostura, I think it is called. I'm going to murder a lot of names, so please forgive me. I will try my best here. This is following topography, moving upslope. With the fuels and these lighter winds, it's not really making a lot of growth in there with the wind, so that's good, but it is going upslope pretty aggressively. So I expect to see very active to extreme fire behavior in there again tomorrow. As you heard from operations, they put the scoopers in there. That really knocks the steam out of it and really kept the 518 corridor free and open. Now tomorrow with that southwest west wind, it's going to try to make a push to there, but I have every confidence that the aircraft will help keep that in check and limit the spread and not make a big push. But I do think it's going to continue to back into that wind up the slopes and create havoc back in that area as it moves around. As we go down south, down in the Rosiata area, we still get some growth down in there. Once again, that's going upslope, following the fuels, following the slopes, and these lighter winds. That's what we're going to continue to see, is that slope-driven fire behavior until the wind gets strong enough that it starts pushing the fire around again. We're going to continue to see limited growth in there. The rest of the south area, I don't think we're going to see very much growth at all. It's going to be trying to go upslope into the wind. A lot of this area hasn't moved in days because it's run out of fuel, or it's gotten an area that it just doesn't want to move anymore. So I think we're going to continue to see that as we go around the fire along the whole east side. Not expecting any fire behavior except interior pockets here and there. So you may see some glowing embers at night or small columns coming out of there in the daytime as pockets burn out, but nothing in perimeter spread. Then we get back up to the north on the northeast side once again on the 434. Don't expect to see anything getting across that. In the near future. To the north up here, nothing going to be spreading up there. The crews have worked hard. Now, as we come down the center of the 121 corridor, you heard from operations, that's backing. That's going to continue to back as it has fuels behind it, and it's going to find those fuels back down with low to moderate fire behavior. It may do some upslope runs here and there, but that's going to be limited, especially with the crews and aircraft working in there. And then as we come all the way to the top, and little bit of growth up here in Taos County, just finding some slope, finding a little bit of fuels, making limited runs in there, not expecting big growth, anything in there. So tomorrow is just going to be a moderate growth day. Not expecting any big major runs, not expecting any huge columns coming up. I think it's going to be a really good work day out there. Now, a lot of people have been asking about the rain that we had down the southern portion of the fire. That rain is great for today's fire behavior. It really calms down the fire behavior. Those fine dead fuels absorb all that moisture, and what that does is it stops the spread. So that, let me do this, there we go. So when it stops that spread, we're not going to get that growth. But that's a very limited thing in today's environment out there. So tomorrow, by midday, those fuels will be available again, and we'll start to see that movement again, or more active fire behavior as those fine dead fuels dry. That little bit of rain did nothing for those 1,000-hour fuels. Those are still extremely dry. It would take many, many days of rain to dry those fuels out. Then, of course, on the interior, we need to address that. Inside the control lines that you see up there, there are many pockets of unburned fuels. And we're going to continue to see those burn throughout the next week or 2 weeks as fire approaches those, gets in those fuels, and burns those up. So you'll see glowing embers inside there. You'll see pockets of fuel burning out. And some of these pockets may be very sizable. So that's going to continue for many days. And I think that pretty much covers all my notes. Once again, just a moderate burn period for tomorrow. Not expecting big growth at all. Should be a good work day for the crews and make some good progress out there. And I'll hang around for any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stuart. We always appreciate your detailed reports. And if anyone's looking for the latest incident meteorologist information, that was recorded earlier today by Blade and Brightrider. They're very busy this afternoon, especially with the weather, so they're not able to join us this evening. But what you see on the video that was recorded this afternoon remains accurate this evening. And with that, we're going to turn it over to San Miguel County Sheriff Chris Lopez.
Thank you, Ms. Prescott, and good evening. So we'll go ahead and start. I know our Ready, Set, Go evacuation status is, we've still been getting a lot of questions about the Rociada, Gascon, Maestas Canyon area and repopulation there. As you heard from our operations, there's a lot of really good work going on in there. And of course, as I've been stating, we got to give these guys a little bit of opportunity to get things cleaned up and worked on in there. As you're hearing that there's a lot of good work in there and some promising information you heard today, and we'll definitely be continuing discussions with the team in terms of repopulating that area, as I know you've been out for quite some time now. So definitely high on the priority list, but we want to ensure that you're safe in re-entering that location. As you've seen just a few days ago, we had some blow-ups in that area, and that's something that's concerning to us, and we just want to make sure that when we do repopulate, that you are safe to do so. So I just want to reiterate that to you, and reiterate that that is something that's very high on our priority list, and we'll definitely be on top of that each and every day. So in terms of new evacuation statuses, upper and lower Colonias, Cow Creek, Bull Canyon, as you know, we did go into go status yesterday evening with that, and we did get people out of there as the fire was getting winds off the east, which we hadn't seen before, and moved it outside of the lines that the team had developed for that. Today was a really good break for us, as we haven't seen rain in a really long time, so that's exciting. Gives a little, also an opportunity for the team to kind of reestablish some area there, take back some area. Hopefully that'll help us in the near future. But as you heard from Stu, don't get your hopes up too much, because it's probably going to be drying out again. And so I got a lot of calls and a lot of excitement. I was actually pretty excited about that too today, especially down here lower in Las Vegas. We even saw a little bit of hail, so that's, we hadn't seen moisture in quite a long time. But I know especially on that Skyline Ridge, they didn't see as much as what we probably saw down here in Las Vegas. And it really gave us just a little breather and a break for the team to maybe get a little bit more work done. And hopefully we can continue to see improvements back on that side again. In talking about that, I've also gotten a lot of questions about PECOS and what that kind of potential looks like in terms of evacuation. So as you know, this morning we also made some changes to the evacuation statuses on the map. Particularly, we put Holy Ghost, Tres Lagunas, El Macho, Lower La Posada into a set status, and that's basically from the monastery all the way up the canyon. We put the whole Pecos Canyon into a set status, which is, there's a couple of reasons for that. One big reason, of course, as you've been hearing, is we have our trigger points, or areas that are identified. If the fire gets to those points, then we have to make a decision on evacuation status, on getting people ready, and that's also a big part of it. Is really having people ready to go at a moment's notice. The other part of that weighs really heavily on law enforcement in making those kind of decisions is egress. And as those from that area know, the canyon, it's just one way up and one way down, which is very concerning to us, because we don't want anybody to get trapped in there if the fire was to come across the highway there, the canyon, and cut off access to people in terms of getting out. So that's something that we look at very closely as well. We also moved the village, a lot of the village, into a ready status, and that includes Camino Rincon, Rivera Ridge, Pecos Southwest, Pecos Southeast, East Pecos South, East Pecos North, and Pecos National Monument. We went ahead and put all of that area into a ready status, which of course is the first stage of evacuation statuses that we have in the Ready, Set, Go system. And I really want people to start preparing, figuring out what's important, what you want to get out, all of that stuff. And it's really, at this point, the team's done a really good job for several days holding the fire up on that Skyline Ridge. Now it's came over a little bit, and we have to start thinking about that. We have to be prepared for that. And in terms of whether that's going to happen or not, we really can't say, because Mother Nature's played so many different variables on us over the past 40 some days that this fire's done a lot of things that I thought it would never do. And here we are today, still dealing with it, and still, even for the rain part of it, there was the percentage kept going up, and as of yesterday, it went up to 40%, and I don't think anybody thought it was going to rain, and we got a little bit of rain. So there was no forecast for the wind coming out of the east. That happened, and that's what I'm talking about. It's just sometimes you get doubt, something that you weren't expected, and you have to make adjustments for that. So I wish I could say that it wouldn't go down into the canyon, but we really don't know. So in preparation for that, we have to make sure that our community is ready and that they have had time to prepare. And if it comes to that, then we're ready to get you out. And so that's really, important for all of the listeners, and for those of you that are listening, make sure that you're talking to your friends and family that
All right, we apologize for that. I think we had a little technical difficulties. We apologize for cutting off Sheriff Lopez, and sure appreciate him showing up night after night to let you all know what is going on. And up next, we're going to hear from Colfax County Under Sheriff Leonard Baca.
Thank you, Celeste. Good evening, everyone. This is Sheriff Baca with Colfax County. So I just wanted to get out to everybody currently in Colfax County. Everything remains the same. None of our statuses are meeting daily to assess those, to see if we can change those once we consult with the team and our local fire resources and local law enforcement here in Colfax. We're meeting here at the Valverde substation where I'm at this evening. I also wanted to pass on to everyone. You can also get information from the fire information line at 505-356-2636. Also, as far as evacuation status, evacuation locations, the Raton Community or Convention Center in Raton has been placed on standby. Should we need that, we'll make that available. Our roadblocks are still, or roadblock is still at 434 at mile marker 32.5, roughly. And at this point, that's where we're at here in Colfax County. And thank you, Celeste.
Thank you very much, Under Sheriff. And up next, we have Taos County Sheriff Jerry Holgriff. Sorry about that.
From Rockwall down to the MORA line and over into MORA. Also, Highway 75 intersection is where we have placed our road closure. We are not allowing any traffic to go on the Taos County side of Highway 518. The set status is Highway 75 from Rockwall down to Highway 73. So that includes Placitas, Vadito, Rodarte, Llano Largo, Santa Barbara Road, and those communities up there, Hodges, Upper and Lower Llano de San Juan. So all of those areas, you're in set status. That means that you should by now have your bags packed. You should have your car loaded and be ready to go. You can see on the map behind us why we're so concerned with this corridor right here. It's close. It's close. These fingers are very concerning to that corridor through there. And for ready status, we have Highway 75 west of Highway 73, and that includes all the greater Penasco area. You're in ready status. That means you should be packing your bags, packing your cars, getting things in order. You have some time, but it can go from ready to set and from set to go in a moment's notice. We will be working with the fire commanders to continually reevaluate the ready, set, go areas, and you can find that information on the Santa Fe National Forest website or on Taos County's website. There's a link to the Hermit Peak Calf Canyon fire, and there's also a new Facebook page for the Hermit Peak Calf Canyon fire that has the maps and overlays there as well. Because of our concern about Greater Penasco and Greater Penasco area, including the high school where one of our primary shelters has been, we're asking that people that do need to evacuate or go somewhere, please come to Taos to the Juan Gonzalez Ag Center first. Now, the Penasco High School is still open. We had about 20 people sheltered there last night. I suspect we'll have about the same tonight. But if we have to move into the next levels, we have a contingent to move them to the Ag Center or to the Red River Convention Center, which is on standby. And our county management team is also working on getting a location here in Taos at one of the local schools, probably going to be the middle school. So those are where those are. If you have an RV and you need a place to park, you can park it at the Taos County Sheriff's Posse Rodeo Arena. There are no hookups, but you're welcome to park there and house your horses there as well. All this information can be found again on our webpage, Taos County Sheriff's Office. I'm sorry, on our Facebook page, Taos County Sheriff's Office. Also available to you is the Taos Youth and Family Center, open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. There are showers available there. I want to talk a little bit about the preparedness, ready and set. You guys, if anybody has elderly family members or neighbors that they're concerned about, please call our dispatch center at 758-2217, and we will gladly send law enforcement out to check on them, to help them load their cars, to give them a ride, whatever they need. We care about our people here in Taos County. We are all one family, and we will not leave anybody behind, but we have to know where to go. So let us know that. 758-2217 is our dispatch number, and we will gladly go assist our community residents, especially the elder and so forth. These evac notices are dynamic. We'll do our best to make notifications and press releases in real time as we can, but we may be a little bit behind. You see flames, you're concerned, you're having difficulty breathing. Don't wait for us to give you the order or the recommendation. Leave now, okay? I can't stress that enough. There's no reason to stay behind if you're having difficulty with air quality. With the dry conditions, everybody needs to be fire aware. The county commission has a meeting tomorrow. We're going to go into greater restrictions. I've no doubt the commission will support that. The Forest Service is looking at additional restrictions as well in the coming days. It's a good move for our community. We need to protect our natural resources, our watersheds, and our homes and our values here, as well as our people. So please be firewise. No burning trash, rubbish, don't burning ditches. And I know it's a acequia season, but folks, we can't do that right now. We just can't do that. Again, follow us on Facebook for additional information. Taos County Sheriff's Office, Santa Fe National Forest, Hermit Peak, Calf Canyon Facebook pages for real-time information. And lastly, I want to remind everybody, 911 is not an information hotline. Please don't treat it as an information hotline. Our dispatchers are busy all the time handling true emergencies. If you have an emergency or need immediate assistance, please call 911 or our dispatch center. Otherwise, go to those resources and places that I've told you about for information. Our dispatchers simply can't handle those type of calls. Thank you guys, and I'll stick around if anybody has questions.
Thank you so much, Sheriff. We really appreciate that. And we agree, please keep those lines open for dispatch and go ahead and call us instead if you have questions and concerns. And our numbers are all over our information pages, and I believe even scrolling at the bottom of the screen. With that, I'm going to bring up MORA County Undersheriff AMERICK Padilla.
Thank you, Ms. Prescott. Appreciate it. I'd like to start off today, first and foremost, by thanking the people, the constituents, the individuals in MORA County right now for showing that compassion, your patience, again on these tough times that we're experiencing, for the individuals that have evacuated their homes, and even for the individuals that have stayed back to fight for their homes. And I also want to thank all the volunteer fire departments. I want to thank the whole team, my guys, the electrical op, DOT, Game and Fish, the list goes on. I apologize, but again, I just want to get it out there. I want to thank everybody out there again for having the patience with me. I know it's been rough. I know we're experiencing some hard times, but like I've stated before, safety is my #1 priority, and we're going to continue to make sure that you guys are safe, and we're going to get through this. We're going to push through it. I see brighter days coming, God willing, and we'll keep pushing forward. With that said, I'm going to direct your attention over here to the map. So my apologies for turning my back to you guys. Got some fairly good news. I know you guys are used to me getting up here and saying some always bad news about evacuations and we got to do X, Y, and Z, but now we're going to be doing some good stuff. We've been having some very good discussion, very deep discussion with the team, myself, and every individual that's a part of this team, to make sure that it is determined that the areas that we're going to continue to repopulate are safe for you to go back and for you to continue to go assess and see what damage has occurred to your home. So I'm going to start here a little bit. We're going to start with this area here. So some very deep discussion, very good discussion at that. We're going to lift up some roadblocks. We had a roadblock on 518 right past the Buena Vista area, right next to the DOT building, right next to the La Cueva area. That's going to be lifted up, and that's going to be moved back to Highway 442 for right now. With that being said, we're gonna commence, repopulation to the corridor of 518, and we're gonna continue. I'm gonna say northwest bound on 518, and we're gonna continue to repopulate that area as of today. The roadblock that was on County Road 8011 has been lifted and is available. If we get back onto Highway 518, we're going to go back to 434. Unfortunately, right now in this time, just due to the nature of extreme fire behavior and extreme smoke in the area, we're going to continue to keep 434 at the junction of the county road. We call it Middle Road for those individuals that are listening, right next to the transfer station. The roadblock is going to be right there. The transfer station is going to be accessible to any more constituents that have been repopulated and that are going and getting rid of any household items or anything of that nature that need to be disposed properly. There is going to be a roadblock there on 434, but you're going to be allowed to go and utilize the transfer station. As we go back onto Highway 518, the roadblock on 94 next to the cemetery has been lifted, so that area is available for access. As we go back up to 518, we're going to continue traveling northeast on 518, and we're going to be repopulating the area up to the Cleveland area for right now. The Cleveland area up to the volunteer fire department area, up to the turnoff where you're able to turn onto Rio de la Casa Road or go onto Encinal. That area is going to be, that's where the roadblock is going to be. Again, guys, everything other than the repopulated area is going to remain, the repopulated area is going to remain on the set status. Everything that I didn't mention, consisting of Rainsville, Guadalupita, Sierra Bonita, Ojo Feliz, Los Güeros, Ocatel, Naranjos, Chacon, Holman West, all those areas are going to remain on go status for right now. Trust me, we are still in very deep discussion about, repopulating all these areas and getting you guys back into your homes where, I understand we've been out for a long period of time, but just understand and bear with me at this time. It's for your safety and the safety of the firefighters and everybody that is assisting in trying to control this. I'm gonna say this beast of a fire that we're experiencing right now. I've never experienced anything of this magnitude or of this nature, so I'm gonna call it the beast right now. So that's what we're dealing with right now in this time. But trust me, we are in very deep discussion with the team and all individuals about the possibility of repopulation for Rainsville, Ojo Feliz, Ocate, and possibly part of El Turquillo. I don't understand. Still right now, very, very heavy smoke and flame there. Be cognizant, guys. Keep your head on a swivel, like Sheriff Lopez and I have stated before, and others before. Yes, you guys are able to are able to go into your homes and begin to repopulate. But again, there's still going to be heavy smoke. There's going to be debris, possibly. There's going to be possibly snaggers, meaning trees falling down. There's going to be a lot of hazards there still. Just be aware and be cognizant. If you do run into any of these situations, don't try to address them yourselves. Call the co-op, call us, call somebody, and we'll get those issues addressed. At that being said, everything else, like Watros, those are still on the set status. Nothing else has changed on the map, and you'll see after today we're going to re-update the map, and we're going to continue to push forward. With that being said, again, like I've stated before, us individuals in Mora and San Miguel and surrounding counties, we're tough individuals. You know, we're going to continue to fight, and we're going to continue to push forward, and we're going to get through this as a team. I understand all the frustration that is going on, the anger, the hurt, everything in between that, because I've experienced it just right along with you guys as well. But we're going to stick around, and we're going to be there. We're going to be in the fight until the fight is over, and we're going to conquer this beast. I guarantee you, and I promise you that. So again, with that being said, I'm going to be sticking around for any questions, comments, or concerns. I'll be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Undersheriff. And I was asked to remind everyone that MORA is not accessible from Rockwell. That portion of the road is still closed. So please be mindful of that when you are headed back into those areas. And also be mindful of all the apparatus and firefighters that are still in the area. We want to keep everybody safe. And up next, I'm going to bring up MORA County Commissioner Veronica SERNA. Apologies, we'll have to get her the microphone here.
Celeste, thank you so much for arranging for me to be here this evening. I want to, from the bottom of our hearts and the majority of our people, actually everyone, we thank you all, because without all of you working as hard as you have been, we wouldn't have ever been able to conquer this monster. I do apologize for some of those people that were frustrated and in despair and very afraid. I know that they've lashed out at some of the wrong people, and I apologize for that, but I hope you understand all the mixed feelings and emotions all of our people have been experiencing. So with that, I want to tell you, I wish we could be there for the Taos and Colfax and Pecos people more than we can, because you were all there to rescue our people, and I'm so sorry that we can't be there to help you guys more, because unfortunately you can't even get back into the MORA County. But however we can help you, please let us know what we can do for you, because we are very, very grateful. You guys have been, we've been hearing from all these people. They're so grateful and appreciative to the graciousness that they've received from all the places that they've stayed at. It's been wonderful. Let me see what else. For the people of Mora, I want you to know that we continue to work very hard. We've been working every day trying to get through this survival period. Now we continue to work towards rehab and rebuilding our community. There's still a lot of work to do, and we're working diligently every day with this. We have our team of people working with us. We brought in a lot of resources. We have FEMA. Today we met with FEMA. Please make sure you get your FEMA registrations in, because you've all been victims, anyone that's been in the evacuation areas. And that goes for all of the Taos and Colfax and Pecos people. Please make sure you register with FEMA. That's going to get you on the list for any other resources that come in. You're going to experience loss of appliances, loss of food, smoke damage, ash, at the very minimal. But some people, unfortunately, have had much more losses than that. For the Mora people right now, because Buena Vista right now is in the set status, they're setting up at the Buena Vista Fire Department. So for the next 4 days, or for the rest of the week anyway, they will be at the Buena Vista Volunteer Fire Department to help any people that are experiencing any issues with their FEMA registration. I will tell you that there are a lot of problems because MORA is such a rural location that when they ask you for your physical address, FEMA doesn't recognize it and it throws you out. So you try calling in. Sometimes a lot of times you can get through, and they're very, very helpful. But if you can't get through, please feel free to go to the Buena Vista Volunteer Fire Department. Our Undersheriff Padilla, people from MORA, is that going to open up? It sounds like it's going to open up by tomorrow? Today? Okay. So the people from the MORA area can start, for the rest of the week, they can come to the Buena Vista Fire Department, and then we will be relocating them to MORA somewhere. But we'll get you that location later on. But along with FEMA, we will have a lot of other resources there to help our people recover from this disaster. And let me see, what else do I have here? And like I said, I beg you to please register because there's more assistance on the way. If you're not on that list, it's going to be difficult to get help. Also, just some other issues. I know a lot of people have been focusing on not being home, what's going on at home, their animals, and you may have forgotten to pick up your mail. Your mail has probably been sent to Las Vegas. For the people on this side of MORA, towards Taos and Peñasco area, you may have to go all the way to the Las Vegas post office to pick up your mail. The other thing that you may have forgotten to do is take care of your bills. I know that myself and my husband have gotten on the phone and called our creditors and the different entities, our utilities. Everyone's so very gracious to help. They have waived late fees. They have deferred payments for a month or two, whatever you think you might need. Please make that phone call and they will work with you. What else do we have? I guess that's about it, but please feel free to contact us if you have any questions, concerns. We'll be there for you. We will rebuild. We want everyone to come back home. It might be a little sad and depressing for now, but trust us, our hills will still be there and we will make them beautiful again. NRCS, FSA, USDA, all of those programs are going to step up and help. I know we have some agricultural issues. There's issues with timber. There's a lot of other issues that we think are not going to be addressed, but they will. It'll take some time, but we will bring it back. And I think that's all I've got for now. Again, thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. We really appreciate you coming and speaking with us tonight. And on that FEMA note, I do want to pass on, there has been some confusion that the FEMA grants or whatever they're calling them, I apologize, I need to look closer at it. They are not loans. They did want me to share that information. That is actually money to assist. It is not a loan that you have to pay back. We are working on getting a FEMA representative in here to speak with you all, and hopefully Wednesday or Thursday we will be able to make that happen. Until
on that, I have, now that you mentioned that, so FEMA, we have met with them for several days now. There are some, I mean, they go first through your homeowner's insurance, and then FEMA will kick in with whatever your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover. However, they do offer you a small business loan at a very low percentage. You have to go through that loan and get accepted or denied. But when that happens, FEMA can kick in and help with additional assistance with whatever it might be. But do not be discouraged by that loan. You need to complete that small business loan. It doesn't mean that you have a business. It just means that it's a loan for this kind of disasters. So please don't be discouraged by that. Go through the process, and hopefully we can get you additional help after you've completed that. And the other thing, I'm going to just beg everyone, please heed the direction of your law enforcement, whoever, when they ask you to leave, you need to leave quickly, because I know that if you take too long to get out of those areas, it's going to be really difficult to get through the ash and the smoke, especially if it's nighttime. So we're all begging you to please be safe. I don't know who's after me.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. We really appreciate all of that. And we're going to turn it back down to our partners on the south. We have down there the MORA San Miguel Electric Cooperative, Les Montoya.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. I'll be as short as I can be. First of all, I just want to let everybody know that we continue to work daily on assessing our poles in the areas that we've already energized. We made some arrangements to energize, but there were some poles that need to be replaced and able to stabilize those distribution lines. So that's what we've been doing as well. We were able to assess the lower Rociada area. Thank goodness. There is some issues there that we'll have to address, and we'll wait for authorization to energize there hopefully shortly. In addition, we did energize some lines today. We energized the main line that's in MORA from more or less the community well, west to Cleveland. Actually, the 518-121 intersection that leads up to Chacon. So that's been energized. And what else did I want to mention tonight? I mentioned we're working on individual outages because there will be some problems in those areas that we did energize. The office in MORA, the MORA San Miguel Electric Cooperative Office, will be open tomorrow. I think we've been closed for like 12 days now. So finally, we'll get our building staff in to start dealing with consumers. I was in the office all day today for the first time in a long time, and that phone kept ringing and ringing and ringing, and I know it was consumers calling to take care of their bill or to ask questions regarding their bill. So hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to do a better job of providing service to our consumers in that respect. And last, I want to thank all the consumers for their patience. I think we all have gone through a tough time, and we're going to work through it like it's been mentioned before. And MORA San Miguel Electric Cooperative is going to do the same. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Les. We appreciate your update. And we are running very short on time. Unfortunately, we have another meeting that starts in 9 minutes. I know there's some questions on more clarification for the evacuation changes. Those will be addressed in the releases as well as on the interactive map. If the undersheriff has anything else that he can clarify quickly, we can, but otherwise we'll address, go ahead and come up and we'll, it's important for folks to understand that, but that release will be coming out and that interactive map is very helpful.
Thank you again, Ms. Prescott. So I guess one of the questions that was brought to my attention was if I could be a little bit more clear on where the roadblock is going to be on Highway 518 right next to the Chet Fire Department. So the roadblock is going to be right at the 518 right next to the Chet Fire Department. Nobody's going to be allowed to go any further from that roadblock just due to the nature of right above, like the Cleveland, Tramperos, Encinal area. There's still some pretty heavy fire activity that's going on there, and it's still not safe for the individuals to go into those general areas just due to the nature of the winds if they do decide to pick up, or any spot fires that do decide to come over. You know, this, like I've said before, this beast is very unpredictable, and just due to the nature of your guys' safety being first, that's the reason why we are putting the roadblock right there in the Cleveland area. But again, I'll make it quick, Ms. Prescott. There is deep discussion between myself and the team and all individuals that are partaking in this how could I say it? Sorry, I drew a blank. In this part of, turning off the fire, I see these areas becoming repopulated here very soon, and I see it coming in the near future, very, very soon. So if that answers the question, Ms. Prescott, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, Undersheriff. And we're going to go ahead and send it back down to the south to their operations section chief to do a little more clarification on the operations in the southwest area near Pecos.
Sure. Thank you. So, just some more clarity on that southwest end. So, as I stated, made good progress through here. We still plan on coming underneath Barrios Peak, or Barrios Peak, excuse me, and taking that up as far as we can. After that, if you follow this green line through these blue boxes to the green line, and generally follow this up, to the north, and then eventually tying back into the Skyline Trail all the way into the wilderness boundary. That is the plan going forward and what's being constructed on the ground. And behind that, looking at contingencies and an alternate line behind that, that process is still ongoing. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that clarification. And we're going to go ahead and bring up our incident commander trainee, Jason CLAWSON, for some final words.
Okay, thank you, Celeste. I'll be brief. Again, another great virtual meeting. We thank you for all of the amazing presentations and the coordination, the communication that we've been doing for weeks now. It's amazing relationships that we have built across many counties, and met a lot of amazing people and some lifelong friends, that's for sure. On behalf of all the ICs on all 3 zones, all the incident firefighting personnel, and all of our agency administrators and our local cooperators, I just want to thank all of you for your continued patience and your continued overwhelming support. We're feeling it all the way around this fire area and all the communities, and I can't thank you enough for all the support that you've shown us. So with that, everybody have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Jason. We'll see you all back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Stay safe.